سخنرانی معاون رئیس جمهور آمریکا در کنفرانس جهانی ورشو. مایک پنس. در این کنفرانس تاریخی رهبران از سراسر منطقه موافق بودند که بزرگترین تهدید برای صلح و امنیت در خاورمیانه رژیم جمهوری اسلامی در ایران است. رژیم ایران اولین حکومت حامی تروریسم در جهان است. رژیم ایران عملیات تروریستی در خاک اروپا را طراحی و از تحریم‌های ملل متحد گستاخانه سرپیچی کرده است. همانطور که پرزیدنت ترامپ گفته است، رژیم ایران آشوب و تروریسم خود را با غارت ثروت مردم ایران تأمین مالی کرده است. رژیم مستبد تهران آزادی بیان و تجمع را سرکوب می کند. در سال 2009 مردم ایران به پا خواستند، ولی دولت وقت ما قطعنامه دو حزبی را برای پیگیری آن دنبال نکرد و جامعه جهانی فرصت را برای رویارویی با رژیم از دست داد. اما اکنون دیگر نه. این بار همه ما باید محکم و قدرتمند بایستیم. پرزیدنت ترامپ قول داد در کنار مردم خوب ایران و در مقابل سرکوب کنندگان خواهد ایستاد. ترامپ گفته است مهنت، مرگ و نابودی کافی است. اکنون باید به آن پایان داد.
At the outset of this historic conference, leaders from across the region agreed that the greatest threat to peace and security in the Middle East is the Islamic Republic of Iran. 40 years ago this month, the mullahs seized control of that country. And every year since, they've supported terrorist proxies and militias, Hezbollah and Hamas, exported missiles, fueled conflicts in Syria and Yemen and beyond. The Iranian regime is the leading state sponsor of terrorism in the world. They have bombed American embassies, murdered hundreds of American troops, and even to this day they hold hostage citizens of the United States and other Western nations. Iran has brazenly defied United Nations sanctions, violated resolutions, and plotted terrorist attacks on European soil. As President Trump has said, the Iranian regime has funded its long reign of chaos and terror by plundering the wealth of its own people. The authoritarian regime in Tehran represses the freedom of speech and assembly. It persecutes religious minorities, brutalizes women. As we speak, that regime is attempting to carve out a corridor of influence running through Iraq, Syria, and Lebanon, hoping to create an unbroken passage for its armies and its ideology. And it's left a trail of devastation in its wake. In Syria, Iranian troops have propped up the Assad regime, fueling the dictator's brutal war on his people. In Lebanon, Iran's proxy Hezbollah has built an arsenal of more than 100,000 rockets and missiles, equipped with Iranian-supplied advanced guidance systems. In Yemen, Houthi rebels fire Iranian-made rockets as they wage war against the government, spreading chaos throughout the country. And in Iraq, Iranian-backed militias are operating outside of the Iraqi government's control, targeting American interests, threatening minorities, stealing vital international aid meant to help Iraq recover from the scourge of ISIS. And of all Iran's meddling, it's only added fuel to an unprecedented humanitarian crisis across the region. In Syria, more than 5.7 million people have been forced to flee from their homes. In Yemen, more than 1 million people have contracted cholera, and millions more lack access to clean water. Hunger is so widespread that every 10 minutes a child dies an entirely preventable death. And in Iraq, even though the ISIS caliphate has been decimated, more than 1.8 million Iraqis still haven't returned to their homes. But since day one of this administration, President Trump promised to stand with the good people of Iran and stand up to their oppressors. And that's just what we've done. President Trump kept his word when he withdrew the United States of America from the disastrous Iran nuclear deal. The so-called Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action did not prevent Iran from obtaining a nuclear weapon. It merely delayed the day when that vile regime would gain access to the world's deadliest weapons. And remarkably, the universal view of those who spoke last night at this very conference was that Iran has actually become more aggressive since the JCPOA was signed, not less. The United States reimposed sanctions that should never have been lifted in the first place. And we've launched a new campaign to prevent the regime from financing its trademark terror and destruction around the world. Some argue that Iran is in technical compliance with the narrow terms of the deal, but compliance is not the issue. The deal is the issue. Today, America's economic sanctions on Iran are the toughest in history and will get tougher still unless and until Iran changes its dangerous and destabilizing behavior. As President Trump has said, there's been enough suffering, death, and destruction. Let it end now. The time has come for our European partners to stand with us and the Iranian people, to stand with our allies and friends in the region. The time has come for our European partners to withdraw with us as we bring to give the Iranian people, the region, and the world the peace, security, and freedom they deserve. We must not let this opportunity slip from our hands. In June 2009, after the Iranian regime stole an election to maintain its grip on power, the previous administration refused to raise its voice. As a member of Congress, it was my privilege to introduce a bipartisan resolution that passed overwhelmingly that showed the support of the American people. And only then did our administration follow. The Ayatollah cover of the murder and prison. This is an opportunity last time to confront the regime. But not this time. This time, all of us must stand strong. As Iran's economy continues to plummet, as the people of Iran take to the streets, freedom-loving nations must stand together to hold the Iranian regime accountable for the evil and violence it's inflicted on its people, on the region, and the wider world. So to all of you gathered here, who share this vision for peace and security across the Middle East, I make you a promise. On behalf of the President of the United States and the American people, if you stand with us in this noble cause, we will stand with you. Together, we will embrace a shared future, building on the best traditions of the past.